like I've forgotten, you get a lifesaver. Or Jolly Rancher or whatever candy I had at the time. I don't have her. I have Phoebe. Yeah, I don't know. I knew exactly what Mr. Smith was coming in here for. So here's the other thing. Because I'm recording, unless you have questions about the homework, you can always come back and check your answers later using the video. So have we looked at my YouTube?
No.
Just to make sure you guys know how to get to it. I heard a couple no's. So just to make sure we've talked about it. Guys, all you have to do is remember my first name, which is Micah, like the prophet, but I know most of you guys are. There's a book in the Bible. It's a really short book in the Bible, but that's really the only way that people know my name, if they do know my name. So Micah, M-I-C-A-H, Hudson. This is like YouTube Inception. I'm going to have YouTube in my YouTube.
Yeah.
I have the nerdy math symbol, right? Big surprise there. My videos get uploaded right here. So look, this was Friday. And because I goofed up, I put homework as actually 45 to 49 because I had it wrong at the beginning of the video. So, like at the beginning of this video, now it will show what your homework is. It'll show our like announcements or anything else that we need. Show our answers. So if you're absent, right, this is great. This is everything that you need. You got to give it like a half hour after class. So guys, this is not live streamed. But if you're ever absent, there's no reason to miss class. Go watch the video. Make sense? Nah, it's too, there's not enough bandwidth. Like, the district will get mad at me if I start doing live streams. What I need you to write in your notes right now is, I lost my notes. So go ahead and put away whatever you need to put away, get out notes page. It can be a continuation of previous days. It can be a continuation if you would like. Guys, essentially, what's up on the dry erase board is what we're doing today. So if you want to go ahead, you don't need to write situations that use, you don't need to write that, but essentially everything else we're writing down and doing. What's up? You should turn it in, but make sure your name's on it. Yeah, name's a little important. So I should see pencils moving because we know what we're writing. Fraction, decimal, percent, conversion. Now guys, it's gonna stay up on the dry erase board probably for a couple days, but what we're gonna put down in our notes is like how we convert fractions, decimals, fractions, like, you know.
It says instead. I don't think that's the actual date.
I think it is.
It is.
I don't know what date it is in your world, but huh?
Golden has put 18.
Yeah, well, she's wrong.
No, that was because she had tomorrow's date on it.
Probably because you'll be working on it tomorrow also. Today is 8:30. So I'm trying to be kind of silly about it, but it is 8:30. Today is August 30th. Tomorrow is the last day of the month, the 31st. So fractions, decimals, percent. Fraction. Decimal. Percent. You can make the fancy triangle looking one, or you can just write out the words. In the book, they like to do the triangle web thing. They call it a portions web. Not proportions, but portion. P-O-R-T. Portions web. I want you guys to take like 2 minutes. Talk with your group. When do we use fractions? When do we use decimals? When do we use percents? hungry.
Yeah.
They said pizza.
They had a whole
Pizza?
and you ate quarter.
Exactly what I thought.
Yeah, 4 eggs, so 1 half.
I'm not collecting them today. I just want you guys to be aware I do eventually. So if you're one of the people who I have to like walk around before you actually write things down, just probably start writing things down because eventually it'll be for free. Hey, we had it pointed out. If you didn't notice it, I forgot to bring it up. I collect notes. So last week, like none of the notes from before today will I worry about collecting. But you know, it's math. I have a real issue with people like trying to not write things down. And you know, they think I'm dumb and they think I don't realize it until I get up and walk towards them and then they're like, oh! But yeah, so take notes. You can if you want, you don't have to. Really, I just want you guys discussing. Like, I want you guys talking. When do we, so like, I guess I can ask a guiding question. Would it sound normal if, let's say you were baking a cake and somebody said, we need 0.2 cups of flour?
No, it'd be a fraction, like 1/4.
Yeah, so fractions, any sort of kitchen math, pretty much any sort of kitchen math. Then I heard another thing from Robert up here. Robert, what did you say about fractions?
I was talking about pizza. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a pretty simple example, but if you had one pizza that has 8 slices total, you ate 3 of the slices, or you ate 4 of the slices, you have 4 eighths, or
Yeah.
1 half, or 2 fourths.
Yeah, we normally don't use decimals when talking like that.
0.22%.
A bit more, like, does bigger help?
Cheese.
Or are you trying to see up here?
Yeah, because they actually have to like that. Don't ask. If you do, if you ask, I like cheese.
So wait, what about decimals? When are decimals the better option?
Never mind. I like.
Never mind, we like. Yeah, but now we're kind of jumping right over to percents.
When you're measuring something. No,
Ooh,
that's
like length? It can be. Ooh, there's a G there. Now, I often use fractions, but it can, like, yeah, if you're using the metric system, length uses decimals. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, any word that you're immediately going to give me a math word could probably go both of them. It's like length, width, height, all of those could probably go both. Money!
I like money.
Guys, has anyone ever walked up to you and said, can I borrow $1 3/8? No.
Please have Cooper Florence to the office. Cooper Florence to the office. Thank you.
Guys, this ain't even bad. Yeah, you better keep some patience with the announcements because end of the day announcements get bad. What about percents? I just did this up at the outlets. Yeah, but again, graphs is like a math thing, so I could probably claim any of these could go with graphs. It's like you're not wrong, but I think like that's a little open.
Oh yeah, predicting like if there's gonna be rain or the weather.
Yeah, so like weather. Weather uses percent all the time, and they're wrong a lot. Ooh, like a poll. Yeah, like, you know, that last presidential election that everybody cared way lots about. Yeah, but not at Phoenix. So earlier I refused to write down grading, and I am again going to refuse to write down tests because I don't think about percentages when I grade your work. I don't. Seriously, I've been brainwashed. Like, we will joke that you guys are currently in the brainwashing period, but I do not grade in percentages or points anymore. We threw that out the window and drove away. Us? What us? You like US like us?
We chucked it out the window. You let
For percents? Or you mean like population data?
75% of us is water.
So I think, so you mean statistics. So like stats, right? Stats are normally given in percentages.
What about like your battery?
Your phone battery! Right? If somebody says I'm on 7%, they probably don't mean them physically. They probably mean their cell phone. Guys, what about? You might laugh that I was excited about this. Shopping! Guys, I went to the outlet mall last week. I went to J. Crew, and guys, at J. Crew, there was a 25% off your purchase coupon. Right, now hold on, stick with me. Then, because I'm a teacher, there was a 20% off my purchase. And then, because they were having a sale, all shirts were 60% off. Now wait.
Okay, that's fair.
Now wait.
That's a lot.
Hold on. 60%. Hold on. 60% off shirts. 25% off because I have a coupon. And 20% off because I'm a teacher?
And a sale.
And that's 105%.
It's free. It's
Was
free.
my purchase?
They give you 5%
Your
back.
purchase
They give you
Right.
is never
That's not true. That's not how percents work. And that's how I have a job. Everything I said is true. There was 60% off shirts. I bought some. There was 25% off my purchase and 20% because I'm a teacher.
It matters how much
Well,
you bought.
No. What matters is 60% happens and makes a new price. Then, out of that new 100%, they now call that 100%. Then they take 25% off of that. And then they do it again and call this new amount your new 100% and take 20% off that. So guys, anytime people think about stacking discounts, we don't add them. Percents don't work like that. And that's some of what we need to learn this year. Wait a minute, how do we do stack discounts? Because if I walked up to the register and I was like, I have 105% off, this is free, they would laugh me out of the store. Right? That's not how it works. Go ahead.
Darn it, I had something for percent and then I lost it.
So, maybe you'll remember it when we talk about this real quick. You don't need to write anything down right now. Can anyone tell me what the root, relate it to another word and tell me what it means?
Okay, so I know two.
Like we've been doing with stems, right?
Yeah. So I think a bit fracture, so I'm guessing it means break.
Who's ever broken a bone? Hurts like the dickens, right? You fracture. Yes, I'm an old man. I just said hurts like the dickens. So a fracture does what? It does what to your bone? It breaks it, splits it, makes it into pieces. I split my forearm. It was painful. So guys, fraction, pieces, break it up. What's at the root or stem of decimal? Give me more. No, actually, so this is a different root. So this is where you gotta be careful. D means down, but this is not D. It's deci is our root here, which means what?
I don't know.
How many years are in a decade? 10. Deci means 10. Guys, what does percent mean?
Out of 100.
Out of 100. Give me your eyes. Come this way. All of this. All of this is right here on the board. Okay, like what we need, what we're about to write down. So, like I know we're running out of time soon. Our athletes might need to leave. This, assuming our custodians don't clean it, which I doubt they will because normally they know that this stuff is meant to be left here. Look around the room, guys. When you're doing math and we're working on stuff, I've got posters, got stuff written on the walls. Like, don't walk through life blind. Like, open your eyes, look at what's up here. So as we're doing this work, that's a really good reference. Also, that poster right there tells you everything is well. So as you're working on your homework, if you get stuck, come in here, ask for help, whatever. Like, get out of here. So, on your notes, please, 0.125. Let's write that down together. 0.125. Man, I can't remember how to say that the right way. Because 0.125 is wrong. 0.125. Wait, shout it out again. What was it? 125,000. Give me your eyes up here. Guys, when we, no, trust me, you're middle schoolers. Your eyes can be a lot of other places. When we write that down and say 0.125, it like, I kind of, it confuses me because if I write that down and I say read that, how do you read that? 125. There's no and, by the way. And is your decimal point. So when you read that, it's 125, not 100 and. That's wrong. So this is 125. Adding this shouldn't make us say that any differently. So this is 125,000. So you guys, to go from a decimal into a fraction, all you do is determine what your denominator is based off your place value. So as a reminder, because it's been a long summer, what's our first one? Tenths. So if you want to make a reminder for yourself, go ahead and do that. What's our second one? Hundredths. Our third one? Thousands. So be careful. I think I heard a couple people say 10,000 when we first looked at this problem. This is 125 just thousands, right? The denominator is just 1,000. Unless you're writing faster than me, I feel like you should probably still at least have a pencil in your hand. 0.6 repeating. Write that down. Yeah, but we don't have to like write it all the way across our paper, right? We talked about what we do with that. We use the line. So 0.6 repeating really means, and guys, I said last week, I like to write a few of these and then put the repeating bar. Put your pencil down for a second. Like once you have that written. Because I don't want you to write this because it'll confuse you. But what is this value? Well, but it's 6 of them, right? So 6 tenths. And then what is this value?
600.
What is this value?
6,000.
So the number I have here is 6 tenths plus 600 plus 6,000 plus. Can I, if I've been asked to convert this into a fraction, can I put it over a 10 or a 100 or a 1,000 or a? No, because if so, I'm writing forever. Yes, literally, like, because I have to keep saying plus 6 10,000s, plus 6, like this goes on forever. Flip open your notes. This is your first notes quiz. This is not like a legit quiz. You're giving yourself a grade. Find in your notes from last week when we investigated number patterns, single digit repeating decimals, where it repeats the same number. And if you don't do this, like this is up to you, and if you know that your notes suck from last week, you might be like, yeah, it's not even worth me opening them. I don't have it written down. You have this in your notes from last week on number patterns. We have it, and I love, guys, I think you probably already noticed I'm not the normal teacher. I love to say I told you so to 12-year-olds. It's just like, it's one of the things that makes me like real happy. So, when kids, no.
I like motivating the innocent.
One thing that I will always do is be honest to you, and that's why I say, like, I told you so, is like when I say you'll want to write this down, we'll use, like, whatever.
Please excuse the interruption. Maggie Dunn, please come to the main office. Maggie Dunn, please come to the main office.
So we had this pattern that really wasn't anything too important. It was just kind of cool. And then we had this, where we said the division, and we used our calculators. 1 divided by 9 created 0.1 repeating. 2 divided by 9 created 0.2 repeating, and so on. So if we're given 0.6 repeating, yeah, it's 6 over 9. That's any time. Here's a rule. When you get back, make sure you write this down. Just they'll have it. Any time, write this down with me, please. Any time you have a single digit repeating. And guys, if you couldn't find this in your notes, you need to take better notes, because we will use your notes when we take quizzes. Like, you can use your notes when you take a quiz. So if you took good notes, you should master the quiz. Any single digit repeating is just that number over 9. So the example we have is if 0.6 is what's repeating, that is really 6 over 9. Any single digit. Put it over 9. You may use a calculator if you need. What's up? Yeah. So our next task, just so I can say it real quick before you walk out of the room, is we're going to convert this to a decimal and discuss, is it terminating or repeating? What the heck does that mean? So 5, 6, if you need to use your calculator, use it. I guess I'll keep writing up here. Somebody in your group should have a calculator. Doesn't have to be everybody, but somebody. Like, really?
Yes. I just did it done and it turned off.
Oh, your batteries might be dead. Because you got one of the older ones. See me later. I got batteries at home if you need, but that takes AAA. That's not rechargeable. So it's probably the batteries. 5, 6 comes out when you punch it in your calculator. I'm just running out of time, so we got to keep moving. 0.83333. Right? Or is it 6? 8.3. Okay. I will never, ever, ever ask you to memorize things like this. Why would I? That would be dumb. Those teachers are evil. What I am going to ask you to know is, because this thing called the repetend, you don't really need to know that, because that says the 3's keep going, does this terminate? Well, we don't know what terminate means. That's a hard question. What's terminate mean? So I'll reference that it's kind of dead now, but there is a whole series of movies called The Terminator. He's here to destroy all humankind. He's here to end it.
He terminates us.
Does this stop? Does this terminate? No. So we call this repeating. Like, we've been using that word, but now, like, this is just a name we give it. What's up?
If you're using a calculator and you're using a decimal with the repeating sign, how would you do that?
You can't. Yeah, I know. That sucks, right? Like, you can't. So, here's what you have to do. Thank you so much for asking that. Like that was a perfect question. We can't type this in your calculator calculator. You literally can't. You can type in a bunch of 3s. You can type in as many as you want. But this symbol doesn't exist in your calculator. What we have to do instead is type it in as the fraction. We have to use this, because this is exact. 5/6 is exact. This is not. Sure, we can't make it to the final 3, right? We can't make it to the last 3. It's impossible to get there. Does that make sense? You're just stuck having to use the fraction. So this is why we're doing this. Why do we care about fraction, decimal, percent conversions? Sometimes we literally can't use the decimal. And sometimes we don't want to use the fraction. Sometimes it's just easier to use decimal or percent. So I want you to talk with your group. Same question. Is it terminating or repeating for all 3 of these? Is it terminating or repeating all 3 of those? Take 2 minutes. I think that's enough time. Take 2 minutes. Those 3, are they terminating or repeating? I did not answer that intentionally. I didn't just like lose my voice.
Yeah, I didn't.
6 tenths, or if it's 0.6, convert it to 6 tenths. 0.74.
New Phoenix, could we please have Mallory pull into the office? Mallory, pull into the office, please.
Hey, and now it doesn't even matter because if you feel like you missed anything important, there's a video of it. Right? So now it never matters if you leave early. What that doesn't mean is y'all can skip class. Don't skip class, you don't want to miss this. It's, tonight's homework is the same as what I gave you guys Friday. 115. It's not due yet. It's due for like Thursday, Friday. When I collect homework next. Yeah, just do it tonight, do it whenever. No worries. But get it done. Like, don't just keep putting it off, right? 4. 4 is often used as a word to warn you. If you golf, 4 is used to say, hey, watch out. But we have the question brought up. Brilliant question. Wait, is 4 a decimal or a fraction? Yes. Yes. Because 4 as 4 over 1 is 4. But also 4 as 4.0 is 4. So, but zeros. There's zeros out here, right? Well, do zeros matter? No. Zeros do not matter because this is a terminating decimal. No, you don't need to write any zeros. Guys, especially if I write things that look silly, you often, like if it looks silly, you often don't need to write it. The reason I wrote that is to say, well, sure, there are numbers out here. Because, guys, I teach 12-year-olds and I know how you all think. So when I say, are there numbers out here? There's always one smart alecky kid in the class who's like, yeah, there's zeros. Zeros don't matter, right? Okay. That's, okay. Now this makes me like feel bad saying zeros don't matter.
I am offended. You should feel bad.
Now, mathematically, what we say is zeros beyond the decimal are not significant digits. That's so I can. That sounds a little nicer than saying but a zero that has another number out here. These are all significant digits now. So that changes it. But terminates, it ends, it stops. All right, so now 2/5. Well, wait, that's not a decimal. 2/5.
Yes, it is.
Hudson said, is it a terminating or repeating decimal? How do I? It's not a decimal. Guys, how do I get a fraction into a decimal?
I forget.
Make it to 100.
Eyes. How you get a fraction into a decimal? You make the denominator a multiple of 10. So 2/5, double the bottom, double the top, 24. Or we could say it correctly and say 4/10. Right? That's the accurate way to read the decimal. Does this terminate or repeat? Terminate. There's nothing else out here, right? It's done. It's over. In your homework, this is the stuff where if you're fighting over a ruler, you're not going to hear it and then you're going to be sad. In your homework, you can either make a T-chart for terminating and repeating and place your numbers on that, or you can just abbreviate and say like this terminates, right? Like you don't have to write out the whole word. You can even just put T, right? Like I know T versus R. As long as your T does not look like your R, we can abbreviate. Okay? -0.33. Can somebody raise their hand and tell me what you think about that one?
It's sad.
What do you think?
It repeats because it just goes 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3.
Wait.
No.
3, 3.
Where's the dash? Where's the dash?
Is there a this?
No.
No. Is there a this?
No.
So this is like me saying you owe me 33 cents.
Oh.
Right? There are no symbols to indicate repetition. You fell in the trap door. So guys, that's another analogy I use a ton. Is like this problem has a trap door in it. The trap door here is your brain says, oh, 3, 3. It's another one of those repeating threes. There's nothing to say it repeats. This terminates. This is done. It's over. There would be zeros out here actually, but we don't need to write them because we don't need to. I don't want to say zeros don't matter because that makes me feel bad. So on our homework, what we'll be asked to do is webs like this. And then, hey, I'm getting you out of here in 2 minutes. So 2/3. I cannot easily, give me your eyes, because this homework creates issues. And all of them can be resolved with one thing. If you need to, use your calculator. Okay? 2/3 does not easily, actually it doesn't at all, have a way to become 10 or 100 or 1,000. So if I try to do this, it feels really, really hard. So instead, put that in your calculator, and it spits out 0.66 repeating, which we looked at earlier, but then to make it a percent. How do we go from decimal to percent? Just shift your decimal right. 2 spots. So you might want to write this down if you have an example in your notes to refer back to. We move this 2 places right, and this becomes 66.6 repeating, because guys, it's still, there's infinitely many 6s. Right, there are 6s all day long. And that is all the time we got today. We'll pick it back up here tomorrow. We'll take homework questions, whatever. Oh, thank you. Normally I remember that, because as soon as I sit down, the picture-in-picture, that makes it obvious. And I'm like, oh, I'm still recording.
Wait, don't you want
I can print you one if you want, if that would help.
How dare you said people let me know how to.
So do you need one printed? Let me know. Tell her something in extension. Or sure. You know, you'll only get one for being a good Samaritan, and you'll bring in 2 birds. So take one for you and one for her.